Welcome to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower, where we do our best to give you useful information in 20 minutes or less. Now, here's your host, 5-time Voice Arts Awards nominee, David Brower.
Thanks, Allan. This is David Brower, and here's part 2 of our interview with Jason Linett. I'm going back to your word because I think that's so important and for people to remember. And I read one of your questions or comments that said, just because you're good at something doesn't mean you have to do it the rest of your life. Because so many people, I would think, well, here I am. I know I'm not getting the gold watch, but, this is where I am and this is where I'm going to stay.
Right, and to look at the possible, options that are all around that, then to embrace that as a business owner or even a person who is navigating throughout even the career working as an employee, that, just because, again, we're good at something doesn't mean we have to do it the rest of our lives, that what got us started in our success is not necessarily the thing that's going to bring us to that next level, which, again, take all these principles, whether it's business, I can point to a time frame where I was generally overweight, maybe 40 pounds heavier than I am right now, and developed the embarrassing habit of spraining my back very frequently. And it wasn't just the strategy of losing weight. It was instead recognizing that I had to physically get stronger. Yeah. So changing how I ate, changing how I exercised, which to look at this maybe 5-year journey now at this point and recognizing, okay, I'm doing it more specifically now. I'm getting a better result from it. Yet now I know what I'm doing and I can change it up a bit.
Absolutely.
So it's not just for the sake of novelty. It's that benefit that we can continue, as the video game world would say, to continuously level up. And if it's a business, help to reach more people and benefit the lives of others more frequently.
Well, and I think the other benefit, if I may, is that you model this stuff well for your children.
Well, I'd say to look at, I meet so many people that they feel they're stuck. Again, it's back to the word because. They feel like they're stuck in their own specific circumstances. When instead, it's that, what do you do with this? Again, to look at everything as an asset and ask that question of, what can I do with this? That's where that real opportunity becomes. And that's where often new services are launched, new products are invented by recognizing there's a specific need and let's find a creative way to fill it.
Well, let's talk about your book. That's a nice segue. Work Smart Business, Triple Your Income and Take Control of Your Life. That's going to come out on January 27th. So let's talk about that book.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's where over the years, tracking the things that I've done, whether it's hypnotizing more than 250,000 people or really embracing the moment that I shifted away from having to have all these individual business entities and become my own brand. That's where over time the income really launched and really continued to grow there. So we're unpacking the things that I've done over the years and breaking it down into specific principles and strategies, which the real thesis of the book becomes, let's call out where we started this conversation. I'm in an industry where I have to begin my work sometimes by explaining what's not going to happen.
Correct.
That's usually not the case of most other professions, most other products. So to model a unique perspective and make it your own is what the book's all about. So getting into the concepts of how do we recognize the assets we currently have in our business and leverage them for greater success? How do we really harness this value-first way of marketing in such a way that positions ourselves as a necessary product rather than just a replaceable commodity? And then, of course, with the hypnosis side of things, getting into some of the specific hypnotic language patterns to become much more ethically influential, not just to others, but also to ourselves. How do we change our own thinking? So the book provides a brief narrative of my journey, but at the same time provides a roadmap for other people in business, whether they're in those startup years or even those scale-up years, to continue to grow their own success year after year.
And you're such a good communicator. I'm wondering if you did an audiobook.
That's going to be coming very, very rapidly as well. So as we're finalizing the final points and putting the commas where they're supposed to be, not where I thought they would be, the wonders of outsourcing the editing. Once that's done, there's going to be absolutely an audiobook attached to this as well, which I'm very much the mobile university person. I've been listening to you on my morning commutes. I've been listening to many other programs, and that ongoing opportunity. I'm a firm believer that education should be a whole lot easier to access. So it's where even when I'm producing online courses for education, I've become known for the opportunity to go, okay, so here's the video, but at the same time, here's the video download, here's the audio download, and we also paid a company to transcribe the words as well. So it's that opportunity that we shouldn't be hiding behind, the information. Let's put it out there and make it easy for people to learn, which is part of where, for the people listening to this before January 27th, for the first 3 days on Amazon, the book is going to be a free digital download on Amazon, which you can get on the pre-launch list by heading to worksmartbusiness.com. And that's going to give the instructions to sign up and be the first to know as the free 3-day launch begins. If you're listening after that 3-day period, not to worry. You can still head over to worksmartbusiness.com or look it up on Amazon. And basically the strategies, whether they enhance your personal or business life for the low cost of a book, definitely recoups your investment.
Absolutely. Worksmartbusiness.com. And as of January 27th, it'll be out on Amazon, and then your audiobook to follow when it's I'm excited about that. I like audiobooks. And thank you for listening to my show. I'm honored by that. I appreciate it. One of the things I wanted to ask you about, you said that one of your most valuable business lessons came from watching The Simpsons. Phil Hartman in particular, right?
He played this character on the cartoon The Simpsons by the name of Troy McClure. And it became this ongoing gag that he was this TV personality, infomercial kind of host, and just kind of that regular announcer type person. And every time you saw him, it would he would self-introduce. Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such school programs as Lead Paint, Delicious but Deadly. The favorite one was that, what was the other one? There was one that was Get Some Confidence, Stupid, was one of the programs he was known from. But there was a time where on The Simpsons, he was dating one of the sisters of Marge Simpson, and I think the line was, hi, I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such dates as last night. So what I learned from that was not to necessarily do it in that specific way, because it was meant to be a comedy bit, yet to recognize that, again, as the theme we mentioned already here of assets and leveraging, to recognize that here's an opportunity to harness what someone has done before and introduce it to a new audience.
Exactly.
So to look at it from that perspective, that when I'm speaking to a group, or if I'm doing in our modern era some sort of webinar presentation, I live by the formula of get them to care before you really ask them to listen. So to look at, if it's network marketing, there's people who would go to like a chamber of commerce, or maybe something more formal like a Business Networking International, a BNI group. And so many people get up and just simply say, hi, I'm Joe, I'm the accountant, I help people in nonprofits with their business and so forth. Instead, to get up and draw them in with a story, to draw them in with descriptive language that, to actually stand there and give people an experience rather than just simply state your name and here's what you are and here's what you do. So it's an opportunity to let our language draw people in. And it's only at that point, and I give you an example of one that I would often do, that I'm attending some sort of meeting professionals event or professional networking, and I would stand up, and the introduction would be, and notice that I'm not just getting up right away and saying my name and my profession.
Right.
So it's your turn to stand and speak, and yet you've been sitting there dreading that moment, knowing that you're going to feel nervous. As soon as you stand up, you can feel your legs shaking out from underneath you, and you're trying your best to not gesture with your hands out of fear someone will see your fingers shaking. And as soon as you begin to speak, you're now concerned that your voice is straining and people might be judging you, or you might forget what you're about to say.
Right.
If I've described your own personal flavor of public speaking, we need to talk.
Exactly
My name is Jason Linett, and I'm an expert in helping people let go of their fears of public speaking, and not only let go of the fear, but to let their presentations become that little bit more influential and perhaps even hypnotic. As a hypnotist, I help people to change their minds to instead now become excited about speaking rather than fearful. If I've described you, I look forward to chatting with you directly after this meeting.
Fabulous.
So instead of just getting up, thank you, instead of just getting up there and just saying, hi, this is who I am and this is what I do, draw them in with a story, the way that any movie nowadays will begin to sweep people into an experience.
Right.
The story begins in the middle of the story, and then suddenly the movie backtracks, and now it slowly catches up to that sort of heightened moment where now you're realizing here's what was going on, here's what's happening, and now the audience is really drawn to really watch the rest of that thing.
Well, look at the success of This Is Us. I mean, that's exactly what they do.
Oh, absolutely.
Wow.
Well, what was the movie we just watched?
Life Itself.
We just watched, and it was, yeah, that too. I mean, basically, as the movie Memento or any sort of action movie where you're swept into it right away.
Yeah.
The sort of, again, coming from someone who used to work with a lot of classical theater, it's not so much the formula that used to be of here's the maid, and she's now somehow giving a lot of odd exposition,
right,
in a way that people don't talk.
Right.
Instead, draw them into the experience, and that was a lesson modeling from. So there's times and places to go. Hi, I'm Jason Linett. I was a TEDx speaker, and I'm now sharing this information. Or hi, I'm an author of this book. You can do it that way, but also recognize there's places to flip that model, draw people into an experience. I have a slightly colorful variation, though, which is one time I stood up at an event, and this was my drop the microphone moment. There was a networking group that I found really successful for me, yet it was just time to move on to other things. And I stood at the meeting. It was a lunchtime event, and good afternoon, everybody. Keep enjoying your meals. Today's story ends with murder, so listen carefully. Oh, good. Now you're listening. So a woman comes into my office, and she has a fear of bugs. She's a lawyer who was just given the case of a lifetime, and yet because she saw a cockroach in the courtroom, she had to back out of the case and place someone else into the job. She's a brand new mother, and when she saw something crawling up her wall in the baby's nursery, she and the baby checked into a hotel for 10 days. After our first meeting, she squashed a housefly with her bare hand. Who do you know that's ready to let go of a fear? My name is Jason Linett. I'm a hypnotist, and I help people overcome their fears with powers of their own mind. Whether it's bugs that are flying into the area or whatever fear you may possibly have, that's what I help people let go of.
Fascinating.
So again, drawing people into an experience.
Yeah.
Which again, for any business owner, what is that solution that you're solving? This is where sales becomes a noble art form, because you're helping to navigate towards a solution together rather than just selling something, collecting the money, and moving on. You're solving a problem if you're doing it properly.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately? No, what have I done for you lately? Let's figure out where we can go together to help solve this solution. Your TEDx, I'm going to direct people to your TEDx on building rapport. It's fascinating to me. It's only 11 minutes long, folks, and it's really an excellent view, and I hope you'll check that out. It's a TEDx presentation with Jason, and you start that out just exactly as you're saying here, bringing them in with a story. And by the time the 11 minutes is over, I'm going, that's it? That's it? Because it was so good. It was like you leave people wanting more. And I'm sure that's part of the reason or the way you do things. But it was a wonderful example of how you work. So I really enjoyed that. Yeah, I encourage people to go there.
Yeah, for the audience re-listening to this, it's actually easy to track down. If you head to rethinkingrapport.com, that'll actually just redirect over to the YouTube.
Perfect.
Video.
rethinkingrapport.com. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And don't forget the new book coming out January 27th, Work Smart Business, Triple Your Income and Take Control of Your Life. Be sure to go to worksmartbusiness.com and get signed up for the heads up on when that book's coming out. And, of course, to learn more about Jason and all the great things that he does, go to jasonlinett.com, and that's Linett, jasonlinett.com. And his bio's on there, corporate speaking, different ways you can work with him, and 1,000 different ways that hypnotism can help people that maybe they didn't even think about.
Well, thanks for having me. This has been a blast.
You bet, man. My pleasure. And great success on your water event. I hope that turns out well for you.
It's already resolved. Just time to move on.
Hey, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Listen to your 20-minute podcast with David Brower on the go. Downloads are available on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Spotify, any podcast app, and on our website at davidbrowervo.com/your20-minute podcast. Until next time, thank you for listening.